I'll just get right. I'll just get started. Okay, so I'm sure that we all know that eating food, nutrition, diets plays a major role in the overall wellness of the body. So when you're talking about health, nutrition and diet is one of the key factor, is one of the major things that determines your overall wellness. Like there are other factors that actually determine that, but food and nutrition plays a key role in that. And what I will be doing this I wanted to say afternoon, but it's night in most places. What I'll be doing this night is to go through some recommendations. So recommendations are general nutritional standards that have been proven that if you practice them, you will live healthy, or if you practice them, the chances of having diet-related non-communicable diseases, your chances will be low. So they are just general recommendation. And I like to also always state, sorry, I like to also always state that when it comes to nutrition, it is very personalized. So, and our nutritional needs at different stages of our lives differ. And that's why I always encourage people to always talk to their dietitians, to be able to know where you are at, what you need to be doing at that particular time. I like to liken the body to a car, for example, and the food we eat is maybe the fuel we put into the car. If you don't put the right fuel, we know that the engine can knock, something can happen to the car. So that's the way I want us to always view our body, that our body is that thing, that's the only thing that we have to survive in what's it called, in the earth. So we need to treat it right to be able to function at optimal level. And when people think about food, a lot of people think that food is just when it comes to food is just to be able to, we eat food so that we don't die, but food is actually consumed for different reasons. One of the usefulness of food, apart from to be able to function at your optimal level, is also people use food to repair certain things in their body. Food can also be used to prevent certain sicknesses and diseases. And I want this to also be interactive. If you've ever used food or a particular diet to prevent a certain disease or something in your body, can you put it in the comment section? Like if for example, you've been on a diet just to prevent something, I have people that maybe they know they are predisposed to certain hereditary diseases. They use food as a way to prevent them from having those diseases. So food goes beyond just eating. It's actually goes a long way in our overall wellness. Okay, so I will start by showing us this picture. Okay, so this picture is called the Eat Well or Food Guide Plates. Depending on the country, different countries have different names for it. So it is just a pictorial representation of what you are expected to eat daily. So it's not in any means suggesting the foods that they've put there in the picture, but it's just showing you on a general note, like what you're expected to eat in a day. So half of this plate, as you can see, has fruit and veg. So you can actually take a quick survey to think back on what you've eaten today. Would you say half of what you've eaten is actually fruit and vegetable? And then quarter of it should be protein, quarter of it should be whole grain foods. Whole grain foods mean that foods that are not highly processed. And then it states there that make water your drink of choice. So I mean, like once in a while, we can indulge ourselves to take drinks, to take other things, but as often as you can, you should make sure that you're taking water. I will get into that very soon. And some of you might be asking, okay, this is the guide for eating daily. So where is the alcohol? Where is the cake? Where is the ice cream? So that just shows you that if you cut all of those things out of your diet, you're not missing anything nutritionally. Like if you decide that, oh, you're going to stick to these plates in life, like your whole life. I'm not saying that I'm sticking to this plates because I still indulge myself in those things, but I'm saying that if you are the kind of person that says, okay, I want to follow the recommendations strictly, and you cut all those other things out of your diet, just for you to have at the back of your mind that you're not missing anything in terms of nutrition. So this place is just a guide that every day when you're planning your meal for the day, for the week, you have this at the back of your mind that, okay, half of what I'm eating in a day or in a week is meant to be fruit and veg, and then quarter of it protein, quarter of it whole grain. I'll move to the next slide. So I like and that enough if you actually the diseases, so many foods that maybe our parents didn't eat, our grandparents didn't eat. So, and these recommendations have been put together. I can't go through all the recommendations that there are in nutrition, but we'll just um um touch on these ones. And if you have any questions, you can always put in the comment section. While Tumi is speaking, I'll be harvesting the questions so that we can talk about them after she speaks. Okay, so fruit and veg, eat variety of fruits. Once I'm giving these recommendations, another thing I'll be doing is to give tips on how to achieve this recommendation. And if you have any other tips, maybe there's something you've done before in the past that is helping you achieve this, put it in the comment section so that people can also learn. I can also get to learn from that. So fruit and veg. So there's a saying that says 5 a day. 5 a day is just a saying to remind people to take 5 portions of fruits and vegetables every day. And what is a portion? A portion can just be measured with the size of your fist. So a fist is a portion of fruit, and it's also about 400 grams. So when you say a portion is an orange, a portion is one apple, maybe about 3 tangerines, small tangerines, maybe about 5 strawberries, maybe about an handful of grapes. So you're advised to take 5 portions of that every day. I don't know if you're like me, that growing up, fruit and vegetable was something special. Even when I was in Covenant University, when you see someone going to Capital to buy fruit and veg, you just feel like, why are they stressing? But fruit and veg is actually supposed to be something that is supposed to be part of our day-to-day, meal. It's not supposed to be something that we do on special days or during special location, or just because we go somewhere special to buy foods. Like food, when you're writing your grocery list, fruit and vegetable should actually be one of the main things that you will buy in a lot of quantity. So you want to note that eating 5 portions of fruit and veg a day. And ways to achieve this, like I mentioned, I'll be giving tips. You can make smoothies, you can eat a salad with your meal, just try as much as possible to make sure that you're infusing up to 5 portions every day. And then avoid overcooking vegetables. One thing I see with we Nigerians most time is that, yes, we get to eat some of these vegetables and fruits sometimes, but especially vegetables, we overcook it, and most of the nutrients and vitamins in it is already gone by the time we are eating it. So you want to make sure that you are eating your fruit and veg as fresh as it could be. It's also been said that is better to get fruits that in season, because with that, you know that there isn't much preservative. You're sure that you get it. It's always cheaper. So one of the ways around it is to get fruits in season, make fruits into smoothies, drink. I don't like to say juice because most of the nutrients are gone by the time you squeeze out the roughages from the fruit. But just try as much as possible to eat it in the best way that you can. I don't used to like avocado in the past, but I've found ways around eating it, and now is one of the things I buy in bulk whenever I go for groceries. So just find a way around eating fruits and veg. So the next one is water. The recommendation states that you take at least 1.6 to 2 liters of water daily. That's about 8 cups of the regular glass cup. I was going to put the glass cup here, but I forgot. But your regular glass cup, that's about 8 cups of that daily. If you think you're actually drinking enough water, can you put that in the comment section? Like if you think you take enough water daily, like recommendation says 8 cups of regular 200 mils, glass cup. If you think you take that, I can't see anybody commenting. If you think you take up to 8 cups a day, can you put in the comment section? So does that mean that nobody does? Or let me say it like this: how much water do you think you take? Like, is it half of this? Is it quarter? Is it Please, I hope you can all still hear me. I'm just confirming to be sure that I'm not talking to myself. Can we still hear me? 2 cups. Okay, someone replied 2 cups. Okay, 1.5 liters. Okay. Oh wow, that's amazing. 3 cups. Okay. That's actually amazing. So I drink 3 to 4 bottles. Oh, okay. Yes, it does actually. So yeah, one of the ways to achieve this would be to there are water apps that can remind you to drink water. Some of us actually genuinely want to, but we forget. So you can download water apps to remind you. You can also, another way to achieve this will also be to buy fancy water bottles, fill it up, and then make sure that by the time you are going to bed, that bottle is empty. That's a way to register and to actually um, gauge how much water you're taking. And then another way could be, for example, I like to take as much as possible in the morning just to get a lot done earlier in the day, because I find it difficult, like once my day starts, to remember. So in the morning, I just like take 3 cups of water so that I know at least I'm almost, or maybe half of what I'm supposed to take a day, so that I know that I'm halfway gone. So those are the few tips I have on making sure that you take enough water. Sometimes when you go to the toilet as well, your urine will let you know that you're not taking enough water. So, and the importance of taking water cannot be overemphasized. It helps with blood circulation, digestive system. So we can go on and on. But water is something that is very important. In fact, I'm one of the people that when people tell me that they have constant headache, I'm always very quick to say, oh, do you think you're taking enough therapy? Can you see how you feel after 1 or 2 weeks of taking water consistently? So sometimes when we feel a certain way, it's just because we're not taking something enough, or we're not doing a particular thing enough. Okay, so the next one I wrote here is exercise, 30 minutes of daily exercise to keep fit, 150 minutes of moderate aerobic exercise, and 5 minutes of vigorous aerobic activities in a week. We know the world that we are in today. Most of us work, we're on our computer 247 or on our phones, and we hardly exercise. And one of the ways to also achieve this is to keep a routine of exercising daily. So if you are able to do it maybe before going to work or when you come back from work, if you also think that joining a gym or being in a group will help you exercise, definitely go ahead to do that. Just find ways around making sure that you're doing at least 150 minutes of moderate aerobic exercise. Aerobic exercise are just those exercises that will make you pant and taking oxygen, like skipping, walking, brisk walking, running. Just try to make sure that you do 30 minutes. And even if you don't, 150 of moderate exercise in a week. Okay, I'll move to the last point I have here: salt and sugar. Minimize added salt and sugar. I mean, a lot of diseases have been linked to high salt intake, for example. The recommendation states to take about 2.5 grams of salt daily. And trust me, a lot of us actually go over that. That's about 1 teaspoon of salt. And we have snacks during the already contain salt. So by the time you add everything, and sometimes when we are cooking, or not even sometimes, most times when we are cooking, we still add salt to our meal. So by the time you combine all the salt intake that you have in a day, trust me, you're going above the recommendation. While I was in school, I had usually do like classes, food classes, and I had a colleague that whenever we're cooking, she will make sure we take our food out before we put added salt, because she just feels like all the ingredients we already have already contain salt. And this is because both of our parents are hypertensive, so she knows that the chances of her being hypertensive is there. So from a young age, our parents already kind of helped her to have to use less salt, so that she doesn't have hypertension on the long run. So we want to watch our salt intake. We want to make sure we're reading food label of salt and sugar. Tommy will be going into that shortly. It's so funny that there's a particular brand of chips I like, and one day I was eating the chips and I just went to the back of the like to read the label. I can't believe I had not done that, like, because I eat that chips a lot, and I was so shocked at the amount of sugar in that chips. Actually, the amount of sugar in that chips already like is half of what the recommendation says. The recommendation actually says that you should not eat more than I think 6 teaspoons max. And most of the soda we even drink contains 12. So you can imagine that once you drink one Coke or one Fanta or one, you've already gone above your sugar recommendations for the day. So reading food label is one important way to achieve this, making sure we minimize salt. Another interesting project I did when I was in school was we cooked different meals. We ran a nutritional analysis of those meals before the traditional way. So it was called World Food Project. So we cooked those meals the way they would cook it traditionally. And then we had a modified version where we reduced salt, fat, we reduced a lot of things. And then we ran another nutritional analysis after we did that. And the difference was clear, like it was an healthier version. And then we got our lecturers to taste the meal. And the difference is not much. So you'll be surprised that if you reduce the salt and sugar you take, you might not feel the difference by tasting it. And one thing I also always tell people is that when you see a recipe, you don't have to follow the recipe hook, line, and sinker. Like I get people say, oh, this thing is too sweet. And they were like, oh, the recipe told me to put 4 tablespoons of sugar. You don't have to. The recipe might say 4 tablespoons of sugar. You might put 2 in yours and you find out that you actually still like the taste of that meal. So you want to be careful in how much salt and sugar we consume, because a lot of diet related diseases also come from intake of too much salt and sugar. I'll speak on one more thing before I hand over to Tommy. I'm so passionate about this topic called food psychology. Please, if you have any question, just keep putting it in the comment section. I'm seeing the questions. I'm going to collate all of them, and when Tommy finish speaking, would address them. Okay, so this topic is one that I'm very passionate about, food psychology, and I wrote here that the way we perceive food is often how the food. Oh, sorry. Do I go back? Okay, the way we perceive food is often how it was introduced to us. For a minute, I want us to think about why we will not eat eba and egg. Can you think about it for a minute? I heard Ghanaians eat egg with everything, right? But for a minute, can you think about why you will not eat certain combination of food? Or for a minute, can you think about why you cannot eat swallow without meat? Like, I know a lot of us are on this table. And that is simply because of how beans and okra, exactly. Cherry says she can. Oh, okay. You're one of very few people. That is how food was introduced to her. So the way food is introduced to you have a long way to go in how you perceive that food. And it's so funny because when I was in school studying this course as well, there are a lot of meals that my colleagues will write and they will say, I'll be looking for the meat. I'll be like, but where is the price in this food? Like the price is not there. You get, so the way food has been introduced to me is that if there's no meat, I'm suffering. Like I can't cope. You get, and that was when I began to think about my choices. That, oh my God, because I'm a Nigerian, like they would write menus, wonderful menus. I'm like, where's the meat here? Or and there are other sources of protein that they would have added. For me, I'm just looking for meat. So the way food gets introduced to us goes a long way in how we perceive food and how we eat that food. And I put this topic there because I want, some of us are moms, some of us are moms to be, some of us are dads. I want you to start thinking about how you introduce food to your children. You know, we have seen people do things like, oh, if you finish that task I've given you, I'm going to give you a donut or meat pie or something. So it makes the child start to think that meat pie is the good food because this is what mommy rewards me with or daddy rewards me with. And then what happens to say, no, if you finish that assignment I've given to you, you're going to have an apple, or then the child begins to think that, okay, apple is good. You know, some of us grew up thinking that the person eating salad must be on a diet. You know, it's just so funny how we think about food. Some of us, the only time our children have seen us eating salad or making smoothies is when we're on a diet. So they begin to think that this is punishment food, that anytime we see salad, it means like mommy is trying to lose weight or daddy is trying to lose weight. So we need to begin to change the way we introduce food to our children, you know, even that meat culture that some of us cannot do without meat, you know, and then it gets to a point where they don't need to eat as much red meat as possible, but just because they are so used to it, they cannot Exactly. Someone wrote that mommy and daddy will reward you with ice cream and chocolates. Can you imagine? You can make your child know that there's no ice cream, there's no chocolate, except maybe when we go for a birthday party. You can make your child know that taking cake is not a normal food. Cake is just when there's a celebration, and when the celebration ends, cake ends. But it's not something that we would buy regularly, but it's not something. So this is the orientation that you want to start giving to your children about food, so as to change. And sometimes I've seen people set the threshold sugar of their children so that when they go out and someone gives them something that is too sweet, they can't take it just because the way the sugar level that mommy gives them is already at this threshold. So they can't take anything sweeter or anything saltier. So you want to start doing that to your kids. You want to start thinking about food in a way to, present it to your kids, or even you personally. You want to start rethinking some of the choices that you make about food, just because that is how food, or that is how that food has been presented to you. People say all of sort of when they see you eating salad, or maybe half of your plate, you are eating semo, for example, and then the vegetable is the main dish while the semo is the side dish. You say, are you losing weight? But that's supposed to be the normal thing. So you want to start changing our orientation about food as an individual, and even to the next generation, because we are responsible for them as to how they perceive food. And then I will end by saying this before I hand over to Tommy. Listen to your body. I used to say to people, our nutritional needs are different, and that's why you need to talk to a dietitian. If you are here, if you're outside Nigeria, check with your insurance, like the insurance your work actually pays you. Some of us actually have insurance to speak to dietitians, and I just did because I didn't use it last year. I'm like, okay, we might as well just use it because the company is paying for it. So, but even if you're in Nigeria, there are good dietitians around that you can speak to. Tell them what your goals are, and they'll be able to help you to achieve those goals. But it's very important you listen to your body. Like, something might be going wrong and you're so worried. But if you talk to your dietitian or your nutritionist, for example, you might be surprised that you just need to tweak maybe your diet or do something differently, and you'll be so surprised as to how different your body will react. I also tell people that different things work for different people. Like, no matter how much maybe like a fruit is good, it might not be good for you, and your dietitian can talk you through what else you can eat to get that same nutrients in that food. I used to say jokingly that the same gari that stops diarrhea for somebody can give another person heartburn, or can give. I remember as a child, I used to have a lot of eye ache, and someone just suggested to my parents to stop gari, and I've not had it since, so I hardly take gari. So when it comes to our journey in nutrition, it's so different for everybody, and that's why it's important to seek counsel, talk to a dietitian or a professional to make sure like you're doing the right thing. Set goals. Just the way you have spiritual goals, financial goals, career goals at the beginning of the year, you should have health goals as well, and even nutrition goals to bring it home. So I used to tell people, I was telling a colleague one time that I've added weight and I want to lose weight, and she said, you are okay, but I'm not okay because that is not my goal. The weight I am is not the goal I have for this year. So I have to work at it. So you see people that are not fat exercising, and somebody is asking, why are you exercising? But you are okay. You know that you told yourself that you exercise 30 minutes a day. So regardless of what anybody says, you stick to your goal. So our goals should not be based on what the society say or what someone say. If you sit down with your dietitian, for example, and says, oh, this is my recommendation to eat maybe even 3/4 vegetable. Maybe you're trying to lose weight, for example, or your own goals are different, and then someone comes to you to say otherwise, what your aim is for this year. So you don't get to listen to them. So it's very important we set goals and stick to those goals. And then the last one here says stay Yes, consistency is key. Try to look around your schedule, some of these recommendations. How do you make it happen? And stay consistent at it. Try to set reminders, just do everything possible to make sure that you're staying Nigerian salad, fish pasta and convenience. So, just try as much as possible to stay consistent rather than feeling motivated. Maybe like after this call now, you feel so motivated and you're like, oh, oh my God, I'm going to start this today, drink a lot of water today, and then you don't drink water again until you attend another nutrition session. So you want to be sure that you're staying consistent. And I'll end by saying these few quotes. These are my favorite quotes when it comes to food. They let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. Tell me what you eat and I'll tell you who you are. Change is hard at first, messy in the middle, gorgeous at the end. The food you eat can either be the safest or most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. And then the last one says, take care of your body. It is the only place you have to live. Thank you so much for listening. And I'll be handing over to Tommy right now. Just read Tommy's bio quickly, and then she'll be going on. So Adepoju Jesutomilayo is a registered dietitian, nutritionist with a degree from FUNAB and UI respectively. She majored in clinical nutrition and diet therapy. She's a member of the Institute of Dietetics in Nigeria and have over 6 years experience working as a dietitian in different places like Children's Specialist Hospital in Ilorin, UCH in Ibadan, and best weight loss companies in Nigeria like Dams. She currently works as a clinical dietitian in Obafemi Awolowo University, Teaching Hospital Complex, Ilefe, and also runs a private nutrition consultancy called The Food Diet Doctor. She's an advocate for healthy living through good nutrition and lifestyle modification, and she enjoys speaking to people about diets and health. Over to you, Jesutomilayo.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, Ibukun. Thanks so much for the introduction. And your presentation was amazing. Well done.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so
Thank you.
can you hear me? Okay. All right.
We can hear you loud and clear.
So, okay, good. Okay, so I'll be sharing my side at the moment. Ibukun is saying only a host can share the slides. Can you please try to? Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. Sorry for the delay. So I'll be talking on I had a bit of technical issues. So I'll be speaking on food labeling and stress and how it relates to our nutrition and health and overall wellness. And please, can you help me with this slide? I don't know what's going on.
Okay, I'll do that now. I'll do that.
Thank you so much. Okay, so before we see the slide, so I would generally like to ask, how do you know if you are stressed? I would like to see from the chat box, how do you know if you are stressed? Do you read food labels on a norm when you go shopping? Do you read food labels or just wing it? So I would like to have responses. Do you read food labels or you just wait when you're buying food? When you're buying food products. Okay. I know that most of us don't, it's not really a normal thing for us, as especially because we didn't grow up learning how to read food labels, and that's just the truth of the matter. A lot of us just go to the supermarket and then we pick things are random, and it's really not meant to be, because it could affect the things we eat. Of course, we are what you eat, just like the quote Ibukun just made. The things we eat actually affect our health, go a long way in affecting our overall wellness. So I'll be talking about food label and how stress affects our overall wellness. So a food label is anything that's printed on the material of any food product, and of course we know that the reason why very important to read food label is because there are diet-related non-communicable diseases are actually on the rise these days. You know, all these diseases like diabetes, mellitus, hypertension, and all that. And one of the way to prevent these things is by learning to read your food label. So the important things that actually should be on a food label generally. So the things that will be teaching us how to read today, you know, they are the nutrient declaration, the health claims or nutrient claims that are on food products, and best before, how to check what's the difference between best before and the difference between expiration date, and then allergy information. Those are the main things that we should watch out for on a food label. So basically, best before means if you eat the food item before that day, you get the best flavor, the best feel of the food, best texture. But if you eat a food item like after the day that the best before date, you will not really get the flavor, or you might not really get the exact whatever the exact taste or flavor the producer of that food is trying to pass across to you, because the food would have deteriorated. While expiration date means after this day, eating this food might be poisonous. So whatever you see from it, just hold it. So it's something like that. That's the difference between best before and I'll be explaining the remaining ones as I go on. So basically, what is the importance? Why should I read a food label? Like I mentioned, I said that diet-related non-communicable diseases are on the rise. So your food label will help you to stay healthy, will help you make an informed choice when you are buying food products. It keeps us safe. It helps you know if you're allergic to nuts, to eggs, to seafood, and if a particular food product, if it's an ingredient of that food product you want to purchase, you'll be able to say, okay, you'll be able to make an informed choice. Okay, I'm not going to, of course, we know that allergic reactions are actually very deadly. So it's better to prevent than using this food product. Another thing it helps us to do is to identify counterfeit products. So I can relate to health. I know some of us are not in Nigeria, but I can relate to health because I know Covenant universities in Nigeria, and it's all of us attended school in Nigeria. So the thing is, you know what the NAFDAC does, how that they tell you to scratch something and then they to know if it's counterfeit or not. Yeah, that's one of the uses of food products, of food labeling, and also easy to check for expiration date. So how do we read a food label? Ibukun? Hi, Ibukun. Hello, please
I've
come
going to
to
the
me.
next slide. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So I would be saying the how to read a food label, the basic things that are important. You should know that the first ingredient on the ingredient list is the major ingredient. So it is like if they tell you that if you buy a bag of chips and they tell you corn flour, then you know that okay, this chips is made from corn flour. Or the first thing you see is plantain flour, you know that okay, this is a plantain chips. Get that kind of thing. So the first ingredient is the major ingredient that the food contains. Then the first three form the larger part, and then the more the ingredient list, the more processed the food. Those are the ways to read a food label. So when you buy a food product and you are seeing like 10 10 ingredients, know that the food is highly processed. And then basically when we buy food products, the front cover, you try to ignore that all those are health claims because really it misleads us. They are market gimmicks. They are just for marketing strategy. Truth of the matter. So, for example, no added sugar. If they tell you that there's no added sugar and you're like, oh, there's no added sugar, truly, there are other forms of sugar that is not known to. Yes, please. Can we all see my slide? Just like Ibukun is asking. Thank you. There are other forms of sugar that is necessarily not known to the layman. So, okay, thank you. It's not moving. Oh, that was what I was saying.
Okay. I'm just going to send it so that someone can manage it better. But are you on this slide now?
Actually, it's not actually moving. It's on the first slide. That was why I was calling you the other
Oh,
time. I
really?
thought.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah. So what can we all see now,
I'm
please?
so sorry. I don't know.
What can we all see now? If someone can confirm.
Let me try and log in.
Tommy, what can you see?
Still seeing the
Hi,
food
Ibukun.
label.
It's showing that Ibukun has started sharing for a long time. That's what's been showing on my own screen.
Wow.
Okay. I'm just going to stop.
Yeah, same
Okay.
here. I can also see your last slide, staying on course, and then Ibukun has started sharing screen.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to stop.
Yeah, same thing here too.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to stop and then we share this.
I'm actually supposed to do it from here. I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah, that's fine.
What's going on? Okay, let me try.
I'm just going to send it to the secretariat now so that they can what's it called?
Okay.
Yep, do it from there.
I'm so sorry about this.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. So basically I was on the slide saying, can I continue?
Yes, please do. Yes, please do. Yes, go ahead. You go ahead. Yeah, Tommy, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Tommy, we can't hear you in case you're talking.
No, I'm not. I'm actually trying to rectify.
Yeah, but just go ahead, please.
It's not coming on. I don't know
Yeah,
what's
don't
going
worry
on.
about it. Go ahead.
Okay. So I was saying, for example, no added sugar is a market gimmick. There are other forms of sugar that a layman does not know. And then when they say, okay, corn syrup, rice syrup, brown syrup, and stuff like that, that is sugar. But they tell you there is no added sugar. So basically, they are all trying to sell their market fast. For example, if they tell you low fat, and if then product, they usually add sugar just to make it sweet and more acceptable. It doesn't really mean that if you see this kind of claims, these are nutrition claims, by the way. So if you see these things on any food product, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is healthy. Okay, so the next slide that I'll be going to is how to read. I really want us to see this. I think I'll come back to this when the slide is running, and I'll just go to other slides, because this we have to see, because it's like an image of how to read your labels. So I'll just quickly move to stress and how it affects us as individuals, overall wellness. So stress is a response to any kind of stimuli, is a response to threat that the body perceives as and we can't cope with, in quote. So basically stress is either emotional or mental, but the body perceives stress as physical. For example, an outbreak is emotional, but the body perceives it as physical. An impact, So usually stress is mental or physical. Like you are drained from work, is mental, but our body perceives as physical, and then we have headaches and stuff. So basically stress is that's what stress is. Stress is the response to stimuli that the body cannot in a way cope with. Then there are two types of stress, and mainly everybody gets stressed one way or the other every day. Every day in life, we are living now, we are human beings, there's no way we won't be stressed. But there are basically two types of stress. We have the acute stress and the chronic stress. The chronic stress is when we have a problem, but the acute stress, everybody can handle it. Everybody gets stressed one way or the other. So when we are stressed, the body releases an hormone called adrenaline. Adrenaline is it helps to combat the stress, just to fight the stress. Adrenaline has three responses. Is either you fight it, you fight whatever is causing the stress, you fly from it, that is flight, then or you freeze, you just completely give up. So those are the three impacts of stress on human body. So when you fight it, you loss of anger, you scream at people, you get angry, you cry. That is fighting the stress. When you when the response is flight, you avoid whatever is causing you to be stressed. You try to avoid, you move away, you're anxious, you are scared. But when you freeze, you are just numb, like you are depressed. Like those that have suicidal thoughts, these are actually one of they freeze, they just want to give up, they just want to end it. So basically that is that. Then I'll move to symptoms of stress. Yeah, from what I've been explaining, I know that some of us can now try to relate with the symptoms of stress. Can you tell me when you are stressed? Can you please tell me some of the signs you see, some of the ways you know that, okay, I'm stressed, when you are stressed? Please, I'll be waiting for answers. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for this. Okay, so what are some of the symptoms that we kind of feel when we are stressed? Can we put it in the chat box? How do you know you are stressed? Waiting for answers, please. You snap, yes. You snap. You always do that. Headache, yes. You start eating anyhow. Amazing answer. Yeah, irritable. Yeah. Those are our answers. So the next slide. Those are some of the common symptoms of stress. So I would not touch on it, but I will touch on the uncommon symptoms. I call them uncommon not because it does not happen to us, but because we usually don't relate it to stress. When we feel these things, we usually don't relate them to stress. So one of the things is digestive problems. So stress affects our digestive system. When you are stressed, the digestive process is slowed down because the body is trying to focus on one thing, what is stressing you, wanting to fight that is stressing you. So the digestive process slowed down. Peristalsis, I don't want to go into science. So what we end up seeing is we have cramps, you have a stomach upset, you are bloated, you are constipated, those are symptoms of stress. If you have noticed, I have noticed myself over time, anytime I am stressed, I am bloated. You will not, so as a layman would not relate that kind of thing to stress. Okay, that's why I called it an uncommon system. Another thing is that the digestive juices are produced in excess, and so they kind of erode the lining of the stomach, causing ulcers. So ulcer is a response to stress. Some type of ulcers are response to stress. Then when the lining of the stomach is corroded, gut microbe is they are swept away. So there's an imbalance in gut microbe. And what function of gut microbe? That's when you start feeling irritable. That's when you start having mood swings, anxiety, because there's an imbalance in the gut microbe. Another symptom of another uncommon symptom of stress is infertility, hormonal imbalances, low libido. Of course, when you are stressed, the last thing on your mind to do with your spouse is have sex. Like, I just want to rest. Do you understand? Like, just leave me alone. That is a response to stress. Another thing is for women. So for some of us that usually have like a four-day period, whenever you are stressed, have you ever noticed that you had your period and the days you had your period reduced, like maybe just 2 days, maybe just had your period for 2 days and it stopped, or it increased, like instead of 4 days, you had 7 days. So because our body is different from each other, we react to stress differently. So for some people, their menstrual cycle reduces. For some people, their menstrual cycle is elongated. This is because there are hormonal imbalances as a result of the stress. Another common symptom, of course, this is common. I know that we've heard of people just slumming at work. They just slump and they left. Yes, your period increases when you are stressed. That's a response to stress. That's because there's an hormonal imbalance. So some people just slump at work because when you are stressed, the body is trying to produce more blood that it could fight, it could react. You get, so your heart rate increases. It could lead to heart attack. It leads to high blood pressure because more blood is flowing through your body. You get more than usual. So it leads to all these things. Next slide, please. Thank you so much. So I'll go to effects of stress on our eating pattern. We skip meals when we are stressed. We just now remember that I said that our bodies react to stress differently. So for some people, they forget to eat meals, maybe because there's a deadline at work and you have to meet up. You get, and they're just like, no breakfast this morning, you're typing and you're forgetting that you have even not eaten. You forget to drink water. This leads to dehydration. Dehydration leads to headache, leading to another sign of stress. Dehydration leads to a whole different things. At the end of the day, when you are dehydrated for a long time, there are some processes in the body that are distorted. So basically, I don't want to speak in science jargons because I might lose some people. So one of the effects of stress on eating pattern is that we forget to eat, forget to drink water. And for some people, they munch mindlessly. Like, you just see them emotional eating. I've seen some of us on this chat. We are in the same group. Yes, we are in the same WhatsApp group. We just carry everything and put in our mouth. Anything. Let me just be eating. Let me just be eating. Like, it's a response to stress. Drinking too much coffee, just because when you are stressed, you are not able to sleep well. So because you want to be productive the next day, you tend to down a cup of coffee. Instead of downing a cup, before you know it, you are downing 5 cups of coffee. Too much caffeine in the system is not good for your health. So this is one of the effects of stress. Another effect, fast food. There's no time to cook. There's no time to do anything. So KFC will bail me out today, or Starbucks, or Chicken Republic will bail me out today. Now, over time, when we keep eating fast food, these food are not produced with your health in mind. They are produced to give you a maximum taste, like a maximum enjoyment. So there's a lot of oil, there's a lot of salt, there are lots of sugar. Do you get, so that yes, you're feeling good, but at the end of the day, it's not good for our health. Then craving for foods high in calorie, fat, added sugar, food generally high in calorie, just because the body is is in a process of fighting something. Just when adrenaline is released, it's using the energy stored up in body. Now the energy is trying to fill up on the energy that has been used. So you crave for foods that are high in calorie, fat, and other. Okay, so tips to control stress. Maintain a very healthy diet. So I'm not going to talk on that because Ibukun has done a fantastic job on telling us what an healthy diet looks like. Ibukun has done a fantastic job, so I'm not going to talk on that. I'm going to go to consider meal prepping. If you know that your job is stressful and you'll be stressed over the week, why not do something like your meal prep your food over the weekend? Just come from work, pop in micro, and if you know it's even mental stress, thinking of what it is mental stress for me. I'm like, what do I eat today? Do you get? So it's stress for you, but meanwhile you have been at work and you're adding that to your stress. So instead of doing that, why not just meal prep? Prep for the stress that you're going to encounter in the week. Then practice mindful eating. So what do we mean by mindful eating? Just like the word says, put your mind in your food. Do not avoid distractions. Some of us cannot eat without YouTube, without watching YouTube, without watching movies, without pressing our phones. It's not a good way to eat, just because the brain cannot handle too much activities at once. So you might have reached the limit of like you have gotten full, but because you are engaging your brain in something else, the brain takes a while to tell you that you have food, drop the food. Before you know it, you have eaten more than what you're supposed to eat. So practice mindful eating. Another way to practice mindful eating is to try and eat slowly. Don't rush your meals. Don't rush your meals. Savor your taste, savor the flavor, enjoy the texture of your meals. Because when you rush the meals, before the brain can tell you, I'm tired though, I'm full though, you have already finished a whole hours of food. And then you even eat it and you're like, I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry. You get? So I'm still hungry, sorry, I'm still hungry. And then you go for another bowl because you are rushing the food. Another way to practice mindful eating is to listen to your body. Now, if you are dehydrated and if you are hungry, they kind of they show you the same signs at the early stage. If you are dehydrated, you have headache. If you are hungry, you have headache. So listen to your body. Like, if you notice that I've actually eaten, but I'm having why not just drink a cup or two of water first before you reach out for food and say, okay, I'm hungry. That's practicing mindful eating, noting that I've just eaten like 2 hours ago. I'm not actually supposed to do that by now, but you need water. Just like Ibukun said, what's important, very, very important. Portion control, very important. How to practice mindful eating. Then exercise. Ibukun has said a lot of that. Sleep hygiene, very important. The reason why sleep is very important in helping with our meals, our hunger, our stress levels, because when you eat, you sleep. Now there are two hormones that are released when you are asleep that are related to food, to your appetite, ghrelin and now one is supposed to satisfy, is a hormone that helps to satisfy you, while the other is a hormone that aggravates hunger. Now, when you sleep well, the hormone that is meant to keep you satisfied, improve your satisfaction level, when you sleep well, it is produced in abundance, and the other one is reduced. So it's like they work in they don't work that, they work in opposite direction. Now, if you don't sleep well, the hormone that is meant to make you satisfied, that is meant to improve your satiety, is reduced in is is reduced, is not produced in optimum quantity. So, and the other hormone, the aggravating, is produced in very, very serious amount. So before you know it, you're just craving for things just because you didn't sleep well. Also, how to maintain a good sleep hygiene. Don't eat heavy meals before food. Eat before sleep. Eat at least 3 hours before you sleep. Very important, because if you sleep, your body is supposed to be resting. Every part of your body is supposed to be resting. But you are now and you are now going to bed now. While you are sleeping, you think you are sleeping, your stomach is working to digest the food, and you wake up tired. You wake up stressed. So those are ways to maintain a good sleep hygiene. Now, foods that help to release stress. Some of the foods that help release stress, fruits and vegetables, very high in antioxidant phytochemicals. They help fight free radicals that cause stress in the body. Foods rich in omega-3 acids. These are the healthy fats. Healthy fats, very important in their neurotransmitters. So they they are neurotransmitters. They help in reduction of the feel-good hormones, not the ones that help you stress you. They produce the feel-good hormones, dopamine and the serotonin. Seeing that food in B vitamins does. They are neurotransmitters, so they help you produce the feel-good hormones, and these feel-good hormones work against the stress hormones. So they are like combating the stress hormone. But if you don't eat well, if you don't eat all these things, if they are not surplus, if they are not in a healthy quantity in your diet, you feel more stressed because hormones that are meant to be helping you, they are not producing. So okay, so let's go back to the slide on reading food labels. Very important, please. Very, very important. Thank you. Yes, great. So now, the first thing to note when you are reading food labels, the first thing to look at is the serving container. I'll be using an example of a bag of chips now. Servings in that container, for example, just like the example that I'm showing here, 4 servings per container. Now, check the calorie. The calorie of this calorie is per serving. So let's say that there are 280 calories per serving, and we are eating the whole bag of chips. That's 280 times 4 calories for somebody that is supposed to be on a 1/8 or a 2,000 kilocalorie. You have spent how many calories on snacking just because you want to eat a bag of chips? So it's important to note the servings per container, and that will give you an idea of how much to eat per time. Even if you have to eat this snack, you will not finish the whole bag. So these are very important points. The third thing to watch out for are the nutrients that are contained in this bag of chips example. So we have the total fat, of which in the total fat we have saturated fat, trans fat. Please note, any snack that is containing trans fat, run away from it. Trans fat is bad. Cholesterol, sodium, and all these things. Dietary fiber, very important, very, very important. So, and the page in front of these things, just like I is like if you're supposed to take 100% of a total fat in a day, this bag of chips is giving you 12% of that total fat if you take the whole bag. So these are some of the ways that we overshoot, we overeat, we eat more than what is required of us. For example, this sodium is 37% of sodium. If you are somebody that is on a low sodium diet, maybe not you. Maybe, for example, okay, let me use my patient. So I have a patient that is on a low sodium diet because they have hypertension, they have hypertension. So I place them on a low sodium. Now, if you send snacks on this thing and eat the whole bag, this person can never eat a low sodium diet that day, because you still have other meals. Apart from the salt we had to our meals containing sodium, all foods contain sodium. Anything that's planted with salt contains sodium. So if you eat the whole bag of chips, you are not doing a low sodium diet. So basically, you have to be very careful with these things. Any nutrient that is less than 5% is low, and any nutrient that is more than 20% is high, especially if they snack. Get your nutrients from your main meals, your whole meals. Don't get your nutrients from snack. The lower part of these vitamins and ones that are needed in enough quantity, these vitamins and minerals, because of course they are micronutrients, and micronutrients are needed in minute amount, but they are essential. Especially, for example, if you know if you are living abroad, you know that you see limited sunshine, and therefore vitamin D is very important for you. When you are majoring on your food products, your products that you want to snack on, especially snack. I'm focusing on snack now because maybe we don't read we don't read our snack. If you buy food, for example, if you buy spaghetti, it's very easy to finish a whole spaghetti at once. But snack, we outdo ourselves. So for somebody that is living abroad, you should focus more on taking more of vitamins into your diet. Get more of these nutrients. Get more of the nutrients below. You can see the other slide. Get more of the nutrients below. So I think basically that's what I wanted to explain on this slide. I hope that we're clear. So I'll just go to the slide to showcase tell us about my studies. Thank you. Okay, so the food diet doctor, wealth and wellness company, prides in catering for the overall health and wellness of our clients. So basically, we don't major on just your diet. When you come to us, when you have an issue, we don't major on just diet therapy, on every other therapy. We help you, we give you ways by you can reduce stress, by which you can increase your sleep intake. We have tips for that, healthy tips. So we engage a holistic approach, don't just major on one thing. And these are some of our services: nutrition consultancy, nutrition education, like I'm doing, corporate wellness coaching. If you have a company and you want us come and talk to them, we do that as well. Curated personalized meal plans and weight management services. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Tomi. That was amazing. Thank you so much. Please, if you have any question, sorry, at some point Zoom kicked out, so I couldn't take some of the questions that I'd seen before. If you have any question, do you just mind unmuting yourself?
Hi, Ibukun. Omoshola here. I saw a question earlier, and someone was asking about sugar in fruits. Like, you spoke about sugar in products and in drinks. So the person was making reference to sugar in fruits.
Okay.
I mean, fruit is natural, and in your presentation, you told us to take a lot of fruits or a large serving of fruits. So is there, I mean, we should be conscious when we're taking fruits. What type of fruits would you advise? Which ones have high sugar content and all?
Okay, thank you very much. So basically, the sugar in food is natural, so you don't really have a problem with the sugar in food, except you have a health challenge that would advise you to limit your fruit intake. Except that, but the sugar in fruit is natural, so it does not do anything for you. I was talking about added sugars. Added sugars are they do their thing, but the sugar in fruits are natural, so you can keep taking your fruits.
Right, thank you. Okay, so Somi also has a question. It says the drinks kids take, fruit shoots, Capri Sun. What is your advice on that? Is it a no-no? Because as a parent, how do we make sure our kids are not drinking what may have future implications?
Okay, so basically for kids is a whole different ball game. These ones are just growing. They need all the energy they can take in. So basically for kids, except for a special needs kid or something, a kid that you have to maybe has a health challenge, there's really nothing wrong with that sugar intake, because these guys run like the way they play, they expend a lot of energy, so they need all the energy that they can actually take. So I'm not going to say you should stop giving them these things, but I will just say that everything should be in a minimal quantity, not too much of everything is bad, like we always say. So you might want to checkmate them, not that they are taking Capri Sun 5 times a day, to get something like that.
All right, thank you, Tommy. Then there's this last question. It
Mhm.
says, from Oyeka, it says, if a bag of chips is 10 grams carbs, is it per chips or the whole pack? Then also, if I buy soda like Sprite and I drink half, is it half the sugar?
Okay, so if you buy a bag of chips, just like I explained earlier, if you buy a bag of chips, note the serving of the amount of serving in that chips. If you buy a bag of chips that is 10 grams carbs, but there are 4 servings in that chips, 4 servings, then you're eating 40 grams of carbs. I don't know if you get me. So it depends on the serving of the chips, the serving the per serving size of the chips. So basically, these chips that we buy around that don't have a nutrition label, I don't know how we want to do those kind of things. But if you are buying one that has a food label, then note the amount of serving in that bag. If you hit the whole bag, you're eating 10 grams times the amount of serving in that bag. So if you buy soda and you are drinking half the sugar. Of course, you are drinking half the sugar. Yeah, you didn't down everything. So basically, there is this thing that I usually advise my clients, because when we counsel people, I don't do a counseling that the person will be like they have died, or no, I have died, I've ended. So you get, I don't do that sort of thing. So basically, this is what there's something we call in nutrition the 80-20 rule. So make sure that 80% of the time you're eating very, very healthy. And then the other 20% of the time you can just, because of course there are days when you want to just indulge. That's fine. If you don't make eating this snack or ice cream and stuff, processed food, and habits, you don't have a problem. But those that have a problem are those that actually make it an habit and eat processed meals every day. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Tofumi. Over to you, Ibukun. Ibukun, your mic is on mute.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. Yeah, thank you so much. Can we hear me now? Can we all hear me? Okay, thank you very much, Tofumi. That was so Tommy, sorry, that was so insightful and very educative. Like Tommy spoke about herself, and Tommy has been gracious enough. If you're a CUALA member and you actually need any of our services, she'll be giving us 10% off, I believe, right, Tommy?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. So when you reach out to her, tell her you're from this session, or if you know anybody that needs to talk to a dietitian, and you can always give them Tommy's contact. If you go to our CUALA page on Instagram, they tagged Tommy's page, so you can reach her from there, and she'll definitely get back to you. And if you actually mention to her that you're a Covenant University alumni, she'll take 10% off the amount she would usually charge. So we're so grateful for that. If we don't have any other question, is there any other question that you want her to answer before she leaves? If there's no other question, we'll just end this now. Thank you so much, Tommy. They said this was an insightful session. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
And
having me.
okay, so before we go, I always want us to do one thing when I have sessions like this. Can you type one thing that you've learned from this session and something that you do differently moving on, and I'll just read it out. Can you type just one thing that, or maybe when I was speaking or Tommy was speaking, we're like, oh, I actually need to do better in terms of my health and nutrition, and what you actually do. Okay, someone said drink more water. Thank you. Any other thing? More veggies, check the label always. Okay, I will definitely check food labels. That's good. Any other person, what would you do differently from now on? Check food labels. And sometimes even myself, I get carried away that I don't check labels. Sleep early, reduce my salt intake. Yes, that's good. Yes, sleep early, eat on time. Yes. I think one of the things I've also I've learned, don't eat too late so that I don't wake up tired. Absolutely. One of the things I've also learned is that to practice mindful eating. A lot of times when I eat 80% of 80% good food of the time, 80% of the time. Eat good 80% of the time, and then indulge the remaining 20%. I have also learned to practice mindful eating. Exactly. Someone just said it, try not to be distracted while eating. Yes, it's so hard, especially because now we have the habit of just scrolling through our phones and watching TV, watching our favorite YouTube channel when we are eating. And it actually happens to me that most times when I'm distracted, when I'm eating, it feels as though I've not eaten. So actually, I've experienced what Tommy is saying, like the brain is not interpreting it. And I'm like, oh no, because I wasn't attentive when I was eating, I always want to eat one or two things more. So yeah. Okay, so please, you can see the feedback link. Please click on it to give us feedback. And then you can also see the Covenant University alumni link. Please click on it. We have lots of services. Just go through the website. One of the things you might be looking for might be there, the job board and so many other things. We also have our what's it called? Someone should remind me. Our town hall meeting coming up on the 25th of March. I hope that is correct. I'm so sorry. I saw it, but I had not mastered the date. 25th of March, right? Please, if someone can just confirm so that I don't give the wrong information. Our town hall meeting. Okay, it's 25th of March. So thank you, Nene. So 25th of March, please come. Would be okay. And then there's another wellness meeting happening next week as well. Please stay glued to CUALA's pages. They will always share the information there, and invite others as well. As you can see, this was a very insightful session. Oh, Chedi is saying that the next wellness meeting is about travel, and they will be sharing free trips. You don't want to miss that. In fact, I need to go and set reminders so that I don't miss that as well. Thank you so much. So yes, town hall meeting 25th of March, and then the wellness series continues next week on travel, like Chedi has mentioned. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tommy. If you also need to reach out to Tommy and you don't know how, please reach out to any of CUALA executive. We'll be sure to direct you to her. Thank you so much, Tommy, for coming. We really appreciate everything you've shared. Thank you, everyone that participated and attended. And we'll see you in the next wellness series. Bye for now.